What's interesting, though, to me, Jared, is that we were talking about the Western Conference in comparison to the Eastern Conference, and Noob says he would not have the Los Angeles Lakers favored to win the East if they were in that conference. I disagree, but reasonable minds can always disagree. You know, like I love Noobs, Noobs love me. Like, hey, we can all disagree. But I think the Lakers are up to something this offseason. And I don't know what, but they realize they need to put a roster around Luka Doncic, who's going to be the future face of this organization. Like, I know LeBron James is still there, and it's probably still technically LeBron's team, but like in the future, it's going to be Luka's team. And the roster this past year was a little bit strange, given the fact that they just had to make the trade just to acquire Luka and then figure out the rest later. But now they have some time to actually figure it out. And Mark Williams, hey, they didn't pass him on the physical, and now they can't even go back to that well since Mark Williams has been traded to the Phoenix Suns. But there are some big men that are out there, and the Lakers have picks, and they could actually take on a contract. We were talking about Cleveland in the last segment. Now, it's not going to be Evan Mobley. But what if the Lakers called on Jared Allen? Like, someone like Jared Allen, I think, is exactly what Luka Doncic would need. It's like, here's a top-notch defender, a lob catcher, a rim runner. Like, that's the kind of big guy to where, like, Jared Allen, as good as he looks right now, probably looks even better playing with playmakers like Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And shoot, draft pick, maybe Austin Reeves, maybe something else. Maybe that gets it done for Jared Allen for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because Cleveland is also approaching that apron status of like second apron tax there, which they don't want to have to pay with Donovan Mitchell. They have to start earmarking money for an Evan Mobley extension, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a move that maybe if you wanted to bet the Western Conference right now or bet the NBA title market, which is probably even better, Lakers 14-1 before we get to free agency, which begins on the 30th. That's, I think, a way to bet and try to get ahead of some news that might be coming in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to keep in mind, because we know that Mark Walter has money to spend, and that was the whole reason for the sale. Was the Lakers. It's crazy to think that, you know, a $10 billion company, the Los Angeles Lakers, could be cash poor, but apparently that
they're
was
a mom and pop.
Yeah, there's a mom and pop organization there in LA with Jeannie Buss running the show. But listen, I think now that they have some money to spend, that is on the table as a possibility. And if you are a team that was just sold, like, this is exactly the blueprint. Now, maybe not, it's not apples to apples because the salary cap doesn't exist in Major League Baseball. But when Mark Walter took over the Dodgers, I mean, they've been buying stars left and right like they're bottles of water at the grocery store. Like, it's just, let's bring this guy in. Yep, let's bring Blake Snell in. Yep, let's bring Tyler Glasnow in. Let's bring all these guys in. And I think you look at their situation, and they're I would say, frankly, Femi, I would say they're two pieces away. Like, I just think the Lakers have a very top-heavy roster. And what did we just see with OKC and Indiana? Depth. Depth wins championships. Nobody had Indiana on the championship radar this year, but they have a system that is very difficult to defend, and they can come at you with 8 or 9 guys every night, and all of them play at a very high level. You know, I know Halliburton and Siakam are like the stars, but let's be honest, during the course of the postseason, every single one of the Pacers had a moment. McConnell had plenty of moments. Nesmith had plenty of moments. Like, these are guys that are not stars. You bring in those players that are role players, and you add depth to your roster, and then you have Luka Doncic, and then all of a sudden the sky's the limit. So, I wouldn't be shocked if the Lakers made a big move, because they need to add players, and they didn't draft anyone.
Yeah, and the Lakers, they've actually made a trade today. I'm looking to see if I can find it. I know Shams reported this earlier, the Lakers getting a little bit active in the trade market with tonight's NBA draft. I think they've moved up to 36, I believe it was.
Right. We'll get a player.
Actually, 45, excuse me. It was 45. So the Lakers moving up in the second round to acquire the number 45 pick from the Chicago Bulls for the number 55 pick and cash. So the Lakers moving up 10 spots to try to position themselves to get a young, talented player. Like, we'll see if that's what they're able to do tonight. Now, you look at the board for tonight, like, a lot of the guys who are like the best of the rest or whatever who are still available, like, there's nobody that's going to really impact anything. At least I don't think. You know, that could be famous last words. Of course, Nikola Jokic famously drafted during a Taco Bell commercial in the second round of the NBA draft. So, like, there are some diamonds in the rough, but like that's usually not the case in the NBA. Like if you're going to be an impact guy, you typically go in the first round. So like I don't think anybody the Lakers draft tonight is going to be someone that's going to help them like try to win a title next season. But I just think that this team, like they're not going to sit here and wait around, you know? Like they need to convince, first of all, they got to convince Luka Doncic to like re-sign. Like he's eligible to sign an extension this summer. So like you need to put a roster in front of Luka that says, hey, like we're building around you. Like we think we can win a title with you as our guy, unlike your previous team and their previous management. Like this is your squad and this is what we want to do around you. And I think they got to make some moves to kind of give Luka the confidence in re-signing as well. So like I think they're going to be aggressive. Now, like how aggressive can they be? I mean, it's going to take two to tango, but I mean, shoot, you look at some of these teams and like the second apron tax and how it's been kind of looming. I think you might get a player to be able to at least come back on the other side. So I think the Lakers are a very, very active team. Like I'm going to bet some Lakers before I get out of town here this weekend, like 14-1, because I think next week you're going to see the fireworks really start to crack in the NBA, and the Lakers might be one of the teams where we see it. I don't know who else could be that team though, Jared. Like that's where I kind of look around. Golden State, they made that move this past year with Jimmy Butler. Like who else is kind of in that conversation coming off of last night's draft and the rest of the storylines that we have in the NBA? Like it feels like it's going to have to be one of these kind of out of left field trades that we don't expect, or maybe it's going to be a pretty quiet NBA free agency relative to what we've already gotten over the last like 5 to 7 days.
It could be. And let me ask you a follow-up question. Like if you pull up the odds on BetMGM right now, the Lakers and the Timberwolves are 14-1. We just saw that series in the first round this year, and LA had no chance to compete. Like it was a gentleman's speed. Yeah, it was not even close. Do we think the market is already baking in the Lakers doing something? Because if it's not, what justification do you have for putting LA and Minnesota on the same line? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like Minnesota's bringing back the same team, and you would think that they're going to get a little bit better because they were a relatively young core. I know Edwards, the face of the league stuff, people want to push back, but you would expect him to continue to improve. You would expect Minnesota to continue to push forward. They were in the Western Conference Finals this year, yet they're being priced the same as a team that they gentlemen swept out of the playoffs. So is the market overvaluing LA? Are they baking in the Lakers, to your point, making some kind of move? Because putting the Lakers on that price line at this stage feels a bit of a reach.
My guess is that I think there's also a little bit of Minnesota like uncertainty with Julius Randle and Naz Reid. I believe both guys have player options. So like it's like they have to decide, are we going to pay both of them? What do we want to do? Because like once again, the reason why they made the Karl Anthony Towns trade for Julius Randle was financial reasons. Like they all love Towns in Minnesota, but they said, hey, like we got to try to like keep this under wraps to where we're not like flirting with the second apron. Like, is there a chance that one of those guys walks? Do they try to trade one of those guys? I think maybe that's baked in a little bit with Minnesota, but then also too, like, I mean, you're going to always have to pay a Laker tax, I think in any market, like whether it's on the side or it's in the future market, like the sports books know people want to bet the Lakers on stuff. Like the Lakers have a big fan base, the biggest probably in the NBA. So yeah, maybe that 14-1 should probably be like, I don't know, 16-1. But you're gonna have to pay that little tax because it's probably the most marquee team in the sport.
Definitely, don't bet the Lakers right now. That would be my advice. I feel like
that's where I disagree because what if they're active next week? Like because
that would be the one thing. That would be the one thing if they pull off that block. But then you're betting on a blockbuster trade to be pulled off to get some balls.
Yes. Yeah, you're trying to free roll like essentially like a blockbuster move. Like if they don't make the move, you're holding 14-1. If they do make the move, then that 14-1 is probably like 900. Then you're in good shape. Sure. You're cooking with some gas there. So you're trying to, I guess, project it. Yeah, it's like you're trying to project what might happen next week. And I think the Lakers are going to try to do something. Like we've heard Austin Reeves' name get floated around. Like he is not untouchable, and like he's a pretty good player. Scores like around like 16, 17 points per game. Is he a player that every team is like clamoring for? No, but he could also help a playoff team. The guy's played in the Western Conference Finals before. He's not like he's like some scrub. So like you have that, and then I think they have their draft pick as well. The Lakers are very much a team that I think could make something happen as early as next week.